Hey everyone, welcome to this Ask a Nutritionist segment. My name is Lisa. I'm the nutritionist here at Raw Generation, and every Monday and Wednesday I come live here on Instagram at 12:30 Eastern Time to answer your questions. It could be about our products, health, wellness, diet, anything you're interested in. I'm here to answer them, so just type in your questions and I will answer them for you in real time. And then I kind of always come with something to talk to you about. So today I thought it might be interesting for you guys to know my story and how I ended up kind of where I'm at, because it's cool, and how it ties into our generation is also very cool. So I was originally not into health and wellness. I grew up Italian, eating everything. I loving all the food. Actually I do music on the side. My job on the side of nutritionist music. So I was down in Nashville doing some shows, and I was in a bookstore down there, and I saw this book called What Would Jesus Eat, actually, of all things. And this book was just another diet. I was always into dieting. I struggled with my weight. I belonged to 2 gyms. I counted every calorie. I knew the fat content of every food that I ate, and I always struggled. I wouldn't say that I was obese by any means, but I certainly struggled. At the time, I was struggling to maintain a size 8'10", and now you all see me as like a size 2. So it's not about your size, but that was comfortable for my body type. So I always struggled with my weight, and I saw this book, and I was like, well, this is a diet I haven't tried. So I bought the book, took it back to my hotel with me, read the whole book, front to back cover, literally in one night. And it was so impactful to me. It was the first time that I ever had equated health with food. I had always thought of food in terms of like calories and fat, never as terms of like, is this good for me or bad for me? I never thought of like white bread, for example, as being carcinogenic. I just thought of white bread as being lower calorie than something else, So this book really impacted me in such a way that I never touched white flour and white sugar again after that. And at the time, I was an Italian education major. I wanted to teach Italian, and ended up changing my whole degree over to nutrition. It piled on top, and I just couldn't get enough information about nutrition. Ended up becoming a nutritionist, obviously. So I went to holistic nutrition school. I got my bachelor's and my master's in holistic nutrition, which is different than traditional dietetics. It looks at the whole person, and I found it fascinating. So whereas instead of, I had, of course, basic physiology and biology courses, but instead of like the, organic chemistry and stuff, I had courses like on dietary oils and veganism and dietary therapies for disease and all kinds of things. And it was just fascinating to me. So as I learned about these courses, what I discovered was, they were contradictory to me. One course would talk all about eating soy and how soy is great for you, and the next course would say, well, soy is GMO, stay far away from soy. And I remember calling my counselor at the time and saying, I'm so conflicted, because how would I help a client, how would I tell them what is good for them to eat or not good for them to eat if I don't even know myself, and these courses are contradicting one another? And what she said was life-changing for me. What she said was, well, we give you a taste of everything and you see what resonates. I was like, well, so I'm thinking to myself, I know I'm a tough case. I'm a young girl. I can't easily lose weight. Most girls my age could eat whatever they wanted and not have to think about it, but I always had to think about it. So I decided, well, I'm going to be my own experiment. And over the course of 2 years, again, my bachelor's degree, I decided to live in each dietary therapy that I learned about. So if I learned about fasting, I fasted. If I learned about dairy-free eating, I ate dairy-free. If I learned about gluten, I ate gluten-free, whatever it was. And I did each one for 3 full months without cheating at all. And so what I learned, it was an amazing learning exercise for me, because I learned how to prepare meals in each type of food. If it was macrobiotics, I learned how to make macrobiotic meals, whatever it was. I learned how to shop in the store, like to buy products that fit with that type of a dietary therapy. But what I also noticed was that I didn't feel or look substantially better compared to what I was eating before. Sure, like my skin cleared up a little bit. I lost a few pounds, maybe had a little more energy, but I didn't have like these eye-opening, amazing results, like to warrant never eating lasagna again. Like it just didn't, that didn't connect for me. So at the end of these, it was, like I said, 2 years, I was at the point where I was like, okay, well, I still don't really know what to tell somebody, because I've tried them all and nothing really was like life-altering for me. I'm still struggling. And then the last course they gave me was called enzymatic therapy. And it was basically an introduction to a raw foods lifestyle, raw food diet. So this is like a raw vegan diet, eating nothing cooked. Pretty crazy. And I remember reading the course guideline thinking like, these are not my people. Like, I can't eat nothing cooked. Like, I'm Italian. Like, I these are like the people that live in tree houses. Like, I'm not these people. But I thought, well, I tried everything else. I gave everything else a fair try. So I am going to try it for 1 month, not the 3 like I did everything else, just 1 month. And I waited till summertime when it would be warm and lots of fruit and living on watermelon and stuff. And by 3 weeks, maybe even less, 3 weeks into eating an all raw vegan diet, I felt and looked like a different person. I mean, drastically different. The results were like, what? And it felt so good that, and it wasn't that hard, that I was like, geez, like, I'm doing it for the full 3 months. It's not that I'm finally getting results. Like, at that point, I was so results driven. I had struggled for so many years, and I was so results driven that it was just working, and I was happy that something was working. That was, geez Louise, that was almost 20 years ago now. And I have eaten either an all raw or high raw diet ever since. So for 8 of those years, I was a complete raw vegan. For another like 5 years after that, I was eating a high raw vegan diet with some like baked potatoes and things added in. And now I'm at a point where I eat a very raw diet. I would say maybe 90% on a day-to-day basis. And I do include some very simple cooked foods like the baked potatoes and rice and things. And I will have occasional animal products. Like, I'll have pastured organic eggs occasionally. I'll have an occasional grass-fed steak. And I say occasional, meaning like a couple times a month. I'm not doing it every day. And I feel really balanced and really great. So that's where I have landed. And I'm the kind of person that's very open-minded. I try things. I'm very skeptical when I hear about supplements, trends, diets. I'm the kind of person that has to really research and try everything myself. And if it doesn't make sense, like if it's just doesn't inherently make sense, I don't share it with my clients or my customers here. So that is like the basis of how I got into raw foods. Now, interestingly enough, with raw generation, I've had a private nutritional consultation practice for about 2 decades now. And when I first started, but I'd say at least maybe 13-ish years ago or so, a girl I went to high school with, her name is Jess, reached out to me. And she's actually the co-founder of Raw Generation. I'll give you a spoiler alert. She reached out to me because her grandmother was, I think she had just passed away from cancer, and she was interested in learning about a healthier lifestyle. And she was interested in getting nutritional certification of some kind. And we sat at Whole Foods and we talked for a couple hours. And I gave her some direction. And then I told her about the raw foods lifestyle I was living, and that was the first she had heard of it. She was pretty fascinated with that. And then the next day I got a call from her father, Bill, who was our CEO. And he said, "I'm Jesse's dad. I'd like to hear about your fresh and raw diet." So I went and met with him. And at the time I had a food service with my business. I prepared meals for my clients. So he started ordering my meals and worked with me every week and lost 60 pounds in 2 months. And it was drastic. And he needed the weight loss, and he felt great, the best he's ever felt. And I remember one day I was going to deliver his food, and I walked into his kitchen, and he said, "Lise, what do you think about juicing?" I said, "I love juicing, and I think it's great." He's like, "No, like, what do you think about juicing for a business?" And so I'm thinking, like, you mean like a juice bar? He said, no, I want to make juice, I want to freeze it, and I want to ship it to people, because I wish I could have juice, and I don't feel like juicing all the time. And I'm thinking, innovative, it's a great idea. No one was doing it that I knew of at the time. And it was a couple weeks later that I went again, and he set up in his garage with some juicers and someone helping him, and he was making green juice and freezing it. And Raw Generation literally started in his garage. I watched it happen. I even helped him work on the first couple of recipes at the time. And over those years, these 13 years, I've always been in touch as a nutritionist and them as my clients and my friends. A few times I've worked with them for different things, helped them write their first website and do some videos over the years. And it's been coming up on 4 years now that I've actually been full-time here. As a full-time employee and doing, I'm head of product development. So I make all of our flavors, our recipes, all of our products, our concepts, the methods, all that kind of stuff that comes from my brain. And then I also, obviously I'm the company nutritionist for all you guys. And I do a lot of the copywriting, a lot of the marketing. I just do kind of a little bit of everything that's right in my wheelhouse with nutrition. So that is how I ended up being a part of Raw Generation, how Raw Generation kind of started. It's neat because the whole concept of the raw started because I connected with Jesse. And then, I don't know if you realize this, but what sets Raw Generation apart from other companies is that Raw Generation is actually raw juice. So we cold press, we flash freeze, everything is kept frozen until it gets to you and you thaw. So that means you're actually getting juice as fresh as if it was at a juice bar, basically. differently than other juice companies and even the juice you see on the shelves in the supermarket. So if you're in a supermarket and you see like the apple juice, the juicy juice boxes on the shelf, those are all heat pasteurized, high temperature heat pasteurized, and that pasteurization process completely denatures the enzymes, degrades the flavor, and kills all the nutrition of those juices. Hey Eric, welcome, and I'm glad you love us. We love you guys too. Degrades the flavor of all the juices. And so basically you're drinking sugar water if you're drinking anything off of a supermarket shelf. Similarly, if you're in a supermarket and you see the refrigerated department and you see those like little cold pressed juices, and it looks like our bottles even, they are cold pressed, yes, but what happens to those juices is they are called HPP'd, high pressure processed. And so basically once the juice is bottled, this high pressure is applied to the bottle, and it's another form of pasteurization and preservation for the juice. This process does not include high heat. However, it does still denature the enzymes, degrade the flavor, and kill the nutrition of the juice. So, I mean, just if you think about it, this juice can sit on those refrigerated shelves for 3 to 4 weeks. Ours lasts for 2 or 3 days in the fridge and it's done. So that's the power of real, raw, fresh juice. And that's the difference is our juice is not sugar water. It's packed with concentrated nutrition. So that's why we are a raw generation. Let's see. And I just, hi, I'm from Olive Branch, Mississippi. Wow, you're far away. Welcome. I'm a bariatric, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you're bariatric post or pre-surgery. A lot of customers actually use our juices and smoothies for pre and post bariatric surgery, believe it or not, because they have to have such small quantities of food to get their nutrition in. So they will use it usually in the beginning to help them. Most people have to lose a little weight before they can qualify for the surgery. So I've had quite a few customers contact me over the years to how to use our cleanses and methods to lose weight pre-bariatric surgery. And then post-bariatric surgery, the smoothies are great and the juices because it's concentrated nutrition for them. So they can just have like a half a bottle of juice at a time. Their stomach can handle it and they're getting just pure nutrition and not getting the junk that comes in Ensure and all those other kinds of, supplemental nutrition brands. So if you just joined, welcome. My name is Lisa. I'm the nutritionist here at Raw Generation. I'm the head of product development here. And I come here every Monday and Wednesday at 12:30 for our Ask a Nutritionist segment. I talk fast. I try not to, but it doesn't work. And I answer your questions in real time about diet, health, wellness, our products, questions of how to use our products, and it's great. So come with your questions. Ask me whatever you want. Just type them into the comments there, and I will answer everyone. If I have the answers, I'll answer them. So yeah, it's every Monday and Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern time. So what was I saying? Oh, I was talking about how I came to work with Raw Generation and how I ended up doing raw eating. And, I'm so passionate about the power of raw foods. I will tell you that when I work with clients, I typically don't tell them how I eat because it kind of could freak somebody out thinking like, I don't want to eat all raw food, and I get that. But I do teach everyone I meet about a high raw lifestyle, meaning you can include more raw foods in with your lifestyle, and that's usually much more attainable for people without stress. And I'm all about healthy choices that don't add a lot of stress. Because when you have the stress, you're not gonna stick with something. You're gonna fall off the wagon, feel defeated, and not get the results you want, right? So my number one initiative always is to create helpful plans, or in this case, products that don't add additional stress to your life, that are just grab and go. And that's why Raw Generation is so awesome. I mean, I would almost wish I had it back when I had just my nutritional practice, because it would have been so easy for my clients to just grab and go Raw Generation stuff instead of having to make their own. So you guys have the benefit of the ready-made juices and smoothies here. So yeah, making realistic goals for yourself. So planning realistically what you can do, what you can stick with, is the difference between something being successful and not being successful. So I would say choose small steps that you know that you can work with. And when you decide what that is, stick to it. And then like after you get that down for a little while, when you make a healthy habit out of that step, you can add more. You can add like another step and add another step, kind of like that. That's why our green juices are so great. You have a green juice once a day. Even if you change nothing else that you do, or eat, and you add one green juice a day, you are like flooding your body with chlorophyll, with nutrition. You're helping to cut your cravings, you're detoxifying your liver, your kidneys. It helps your hair, your nails, your skin. I mean, there's the benefits of chlorophyll daily are really endless. I've been a proponent of chlorophyll all the years I've been a nutritionist, I taught my clients, every single one, if you talk to any of my clients, they know how to make green smoothies. I was a huge proponent of making green smoothies. I would teach them to make green smoothies because they were easier than juicing. So if you're home doing your own thing, a smoothie's quicker making and clean up than a juice. That's why raw generation is great. It kind of fills that gap. You can get the juice without all the mess of a juicer, because if anyone who's juiced knows, juicing is no fun. It's a lot of work to clean up, and it takes a lot of produce to make just one little bottle of juice. So, it takes a whole one or two, bundles of celery to make some celery juice. It's not just like a couple stalks and you get celery juice. So it's costly and it's time consuming. So that's kind of one of the main reasons why raw generation is what we are. We have the cold pressed juices that make it easier for you guys. But back to the chlorophyll, if nothing else ever sticks that like you learn from someone in nutrition, it's to get chlorophyll in, not like green powder. Not that there's not some benefit to some of the green powders that are high quality ones, but you need real raw greens in your day as much as you can every day. Greens are the highest source of protein, iron, and calcium that's usable for your body known to man, believe it or not, more than like steak or eggs or anything else. You cannot get the same kind of bioavailable protein, iron, and calcium from anything else that you can get from dark leafy greens. And so when people ask me, well, where do you get your protein from? Where do you get your calcium from? It's always dark leafy greens. I try to have them every single day. And it's not enough just to have them in a salad either, because people will say, well, I have a salad every day. Well, first of all, I highly doubt your salad's large enough to get enough of the real benefit of the nutrition in those dark greens. I mean, unless you're eating, I ate a salad that's literally this big. It's like my serving bowl for company. That's what I have every night. But I don't know anyone else who eats that much salad every day. So unless you're having that, then maybe if you're chewing it really, really well and eating it really slowly, like my salad's like an hour project to get through my dinner. When you blend the greens or juice the greens, you're breaking down the cell walls, you're making it more easily for your body to absorb. It's really important to blend or juice your greens every day. And then you can also get the volume, the concentrated volume that you really are looking for. So yeah, those greens every day, they're life-altering. One of the biggest reasons they're life-altering is because they really cut your cravings. So if you're a person who struggles with salty or sugary cravings, your body's actually telling you something that you don't realize. So if you're struggling with sugar cravings, your body's telling you haven't had enough fruit that day. And if you're struggling with salty cravings, your body hasn't had enough chlorophyll that day. So, and I highly doubt you're grabbing chlorophyll. You're probably grabbing like Doritos or something, or Cheez-Its, right? But what your body really needs is the dark leafy greens, the chlorophyll, and that will chemically change your body chemistry, and then it makes the cravings go down and down and down. It lowers your inflammation. It alkalizes your blood. All the good things that you need for optimum health happen when you start including leafy green juice and smoothies into your days. For those who just joined, feel free to ask your questions. That's the whole point of these calls, is for me to answer your questions in real time. So it's about our products, about nutrition, health, wellness. I'd love to answer your questions, so just type them into the box. And we get some really great questions going here sometimes, and I love the conversations that kind of spark off of that. So otherwise, I'm just kind of doing my thing, telling you my story up until you have questions for me. So, and if you just joined, I'm Lisa, the nutritionist here at Raw Generation. So, and I am the brains behind all the products that we have here, the recipes that we make, the systems that we create. I create them based upon what I found for years working with my clients. For 20 years, I've been a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist. And I've worked with all kinds of people from all kinds of walks of life. But the majority of my clients have been women, I'd say 35 to 55, struggling with weight loss. So that is definitely my wheelhouse. And also autoimmune disorders. I've worked with a lot of people with autoimmune disorders. So those are my two sweet spots. IBS is a big one. I help a lot of people overcome IBS. Okay, question. Is it better to have a dark green juice or a protein blend if you're craving a salty snack? Good question. If you're craving a salty snack in that moment, I don't know that either of those is actually going to satisfy that craving for you. The key is to get ahead of it and to have your greens early in the day, so you're not going to crave so much the salty snack later. That being said, if you're craving a salty snack and you have a dark green juice, it is definitely going to help. You'll have less of an intense craving if you have it. I would also say something you can do in the moment if you need a clean salty snack, because nothing's going to satisfy it. I would highly recommend taking some like cucumber spears and salting them with sea salt. It definitely, you'd be surprised. That's satisfying for a salty snack for sure. Thank you for the question. Yeah, protein blend is not really going to help with any kind of a craving you're going to have. People put a lot of emphasis on protein, and it's obviously an important macronutrient. That's why it exists for us, but it is not the be-all or end-all. Believe it or not, what's more important to get in is healthy carbs every day. And most people undereat the carbs, so they end up having really intense cravings for sugar and carbs later in the day. So the spread I recommend is an 80-10-10 mentality, 80% carbohydrates. Now that's healthy carbs, so fruits, vegetables, potatoes, beans, whole grains like rice, quinoa, and oats. So not so much like whole grain bread and stuff. That's not what I recommend, but whole cooked grains. Those are the 80% of carbs. That should be the mainstay of your diet. That's what we're biologically designed to thrive on as humans. And then 10% from healthy fats, 10% from healthy proteins. It can be more. I mean, if you're like a heavy lifter and you want to shift that, you can definitely shift it. I'm just telling you what has worked for me, for lots of women my age, and for my clients over the years. And this is what it is. And I'm all about eating both healthy fats and healthy proteins. I just strongly recommend having them later in the day. So if you haven't been to my calls before, you might not know my light to heavy eating mentality. But eating light to heavy is truly the way to, number one, conquer bloating, IBS, and weight loss. So you want to eat light in the day, meaning fruits, juices, like light foods, light water-rich foods, low fat. Lunch should also be on the lower fat side, but that's a good place to start incorporating some potatoes, maybe on no oil. Like I have a no oil hummus recipe with our skinny method, bean soups, that kind of thing, salads. And then dinner is where you're going to have your heavier foods, your lean protein, your if you're going to eat dairy, if you're going to eat healthy fats like avocado oils, that kind of stuff, that should be at dinner. And I know it's the opposite of what you've been told, because how often have you heard breakfast is your biggest meal of the day? When you make breakfast your biggest meal of the day, you're setting yourself up to be bloated later on, in almost all cases, because you're eating fats and proteins, and they're going to sit in your gut for 4 to 6 hours, depending on how fast of a metabolizer you are. And then later on, you're going to put something else in, like a fruit, like a melon or something, or an apple. And what's going to happen is the melon or the apple or the fruit tries to move out of your gut very quickly. In 35 minutes, it's out of your stomach and into your digestive tract. But the other fat is still sitting there in your gut. So this push and pull reaction happens, and that causes fermentation and gas and bloating to happen in your gut. So properly combining your foods is huge for weight loss. It's huge if you struggle with bloating. It's huge if you struggle with IBS-like symptoms, which I definitely did growing up, so I get that. I used to joke, but I used to have 2 sizes of pairs of jeans because sometimes I would wake up looking pregnant. And it was just from miscombining my foods the day before. So until I learned that, that was a huge thing to learn, and I've made that the platform of what I teach people for 20 years, and it's been life-altering for so many people. Okay, not a heavy lifter, unfortunately, but desperately trying to lose the last 6 to 7 pounds with 12-hour daily work shifts. Ooh, that's tough. So when it comes to the gym, I literally have zero motivation. I'd rather sleep. So I try to, with foods and diets, what I have found personally, and then also with my clients, is food. I'm not negating the importance of exercise. I love exercising, but food is really what makes the difference with weight loss, more so than diet ever can. To me, more so than fitness ever can. What you eat is the backbones. That's how you can actually lose the weight. And then when you want to tone up your body, that's when fitness comes into play. I mean, if you're doing it for look's sake, of course, for health's sake, it's so important to be physical, but I don't think it's necessarily important to be a heavy lifter doing HIIT training. I did that for years. I actually did it up until a couple years ago when I injured my back. And so now I have to do things like Pilates and things. And I have to tell you, I see better results now with the Pilates than I ever saw with HIIT training. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I was like a gym junkie. But it's really diet. When you really mainstream your diet and you clean it up to the point of where you're eating light to heavy, you're not cooking with fats and oils anymore, you're heavy on the raw foods, the juices, the fruits, your body naturally sheds weight, and it becomes so much easier to cut muscle and to see muscle tone. I mean, you can't tell I'm wearing clothes, but I have never had the definition like I have now. I mean, I have defined abs, I have defined biceps, and I'm not doing, mostly my own body weight. Most of the time I use some light weights, some ankle weights and things, and some light hand weights. And I used to do some heavy lifting, and I never was as defined as I am now. And I was even eating clean, but it's the light to heavy combined with really low cortisol workouts. I'm a huge proponent of low cortisol workouts, especially for women in this age bracket. It makes a big difference. So let's see, I missed some questions in here, so let me go down. These juices and shakes had me so full I couldn't eat and didn't even want to. That's good. I felt like I went to the restroom regularly, no cramping. I exercised 6 days a week, and the shakes filled me up after working out. That's awesome. So it sounds like you cleansed and didn't feel like you needed to eat. I mean, we give you the instructions of how to eat while you cleanse. If you're fearful of cleansing and you think you're not going to be able to eat, you certainly can. We send you a list of cleanse-approved foods like fruits, vegetables, even baked potatoes, sweet potatoes, steamed vegetables that you can have while you cleanse if you want. But a lot of people don't feel they need it. They just do the juices and they feel satisfied, especially if you're doing the protein cleanse, and that includes juices and the nut milk smoothies that are more caloric. So thank you for that feedback. I love to hear the feedback for sure. And thank you for saying they're delicious. I'm so glad you love the flavors. I would love to hear your favorite flavors if you guys want to share testimonials and favorite flavors. It's direct feedback to the person creating it, so I love to know what you love and what you don't love, because sometimes it changes what I create next time around. How much weight can you lose on deep detox, the deep green detox, the deep detox cleanse? I'm assuming you mean. It's great for weight loss. You pretty much will lose the same 5 to 7 pounds in 5 days that you lose with the skinny cleanse. It's similar weight loss results to the skinny cleanse. It's 6 juices a day for 3, 5, 7, or 10 days. That's your cleanse. You choose how many days you want to cleanse. Excuse me, give me a second. Whenever I'm in this office, I'm allergic to something here. My nose runs. The Deep Detox Cleanse is our most green cleanse. There's 6 green juices a day. They are not green tasting. They're delicious tasting. I will vouch for that. I've really, really worked hard to make them delicious and not green tasting, but they're very green. They're very, very cleansing and detoxifying for you. We have found that people lose up to 8 pounds in 5 days, 10 or more pounds if you do the 7 or 10 day cleanses. Usually 5 pounds is the average with the 3 day cleanse. Of course, it varies person to person, but those are the averages that we have found with our cleanses. I did 7 days and lost 4 pounds. Need to lose more. Okay, Scar Broker. I'm curious to know if you did 7 days straight juices, if you ate foods, your age. There's all different things that factor in. Cool cucumber. Oh, you mean cool greens? I love cool greens too. It's delish, right? That's a great flavor. That's in our skinny cleanse. Can you do 2 cleanses back to back, like 20 days? You can do cleanses as often as you want, believe it or not. There's nothing inherently unhealthy about cleansing. I mean, as long as you feel well doing it, and depending, if there's a few cases where you might be, a compromised individual, you might not want to do cleansing so close by, but you can cleanse as frequently as you want. Some people juice cleanse for 10, 20 days. You can do all kinds of things. If you feel well, just be conscious of how you feel. If you're feeling dizzy or anything, eat some extra calories in the form of fruits and vegetables, But yes, you can absolutely cleanse more than once in 20 days back to back. You can also try the skinny method, which is meant to come after a cleanse. That helps you lose an additional 2 to 3 pounds every week after you cleanse, and that combines juices, smoothies, shots, and then with clean meals that you make. So it's like more of an integrative program to teach you how to have a healthy lifestyle going forward, not just for a short cleanse period. If you want to know more about that, I'll tell you more, just let me know. My personal experience, I did 5 days, maybe dropped a pound. Then I took a 2-day break, did another 5, then I saw and felt a difference. Interesting. Then I got hooked up and I did 7 more days, and oh my gosh, so good. So your body had to detox. That's not uncommon. If you've never done detox protocols before, if you've never done cleansing before, sometimes your body holds on to toxins, and it takes a while for it to get into the detoxification mode. So it might, on your first cleanse, if you don't lose a lot of weight, you might see a substantial difference with your second cleanse if you do it close by, just like this other, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, ACNI is talking about here. Because sometimes your body has to go through the detox steps, and if you're not eating a very, very clean, detoxifying diet, if you're not regularly drinking green juices before you do your cleanse, also sometimes people don't realize the preparation steps involved. In the insert we give you in the box, there's a few days of prep involved for a cleanse that you don't have to do, but if you do them, you usually see better results with that cleanse. Doing 2 in a row is a pretty great idea if you don't see results with the first one, because usually your body will eventually, okay, well, you know what, I'm realizing now my body's getting flooded with nutrients, and I can start to release some of this excess weight. And then the energy really kicks in, the mental clarity kicks in. That's the magic spot. And then the key is to keep your clean habits going forward, not to get all full of toxic stuff again. Okay, Jamie saying, I like the peanut butter, but that was the only one. The other 2 shakes weren't great, but tolerable. Oh, I'm sorry if you didn't like them. The juices were better. I lost 2.5 days doing the protein one. I needed protein because I work. Love the carrot juice. I'm 49 postmenopause. So you're definitely in a tough age bracket to lose weight. It's possible. Weight loss is slower. I said this in my last call. For women, 45 to 55 especially, weight loss is not impossible, but it's certainly much more difficult, and you have to stick to it. The cleanses are a great way. It shakes up your system for a man or a woman. So you do often see a budge in the scale. Maybe you're not going to see the 5 pounds in 3 days or the 8 pounds in 5 days if you're in perimenopause or menopause, but you should see that you're 2.5 pounds in 3 days. You will see something. You should see a budge in the scale, and that usually is a big win if you're a woman in menopause or perimenopause. Usually even a pound or 2 is a big win if you're living this life, then you know. So it takes a little more to stick with a protocol to get those results. Thanks for all these great questions and comments. I'm loving the feedback. Definitely send the feedback. I love to hear the feedback. If you're just joining, my name is Lisa. I'm the nutritionist here at Raw Generation, and this is our Ask a Nutritionist segment that I do every Monday and Wednesday currently at 12:30 Eastern Time. It's a chance for you to meet me, to come and ask your questions in real time and get answers in real time about our products, about diet, nutrition, wellness, supplements, anything that I know or have experience with, I'm happy to talk to you about. Jamie, I don't believe in quick weight loss. Lost 35 pounds in the past 19 months. Slower is better, 100%. I 1,000% agree, which is why I created the method systems. The cleanses are meant for quick weight loss, yes, but it's really more to be a jump start to healthier, to cleanse your palate and have a jump start to healthier habits. And it's kind of meant to give you, I believe, motivation, number one, because you see some quick results. And then to get you going onto healthier habits going forward. So a cleanse is not a be-all or end-all. It's not weight loss that will last if you don't keep the habits up. It's just going to come right back on. If you go right back to doing what you did before you cleanse, it's not going to fix the problem for you. That's why the methods are so important, in my opinion. When I first came to this company, there was nothing to do for customers after a cleanse. There was just cleanses, and I said, well, if these customers need something like my clients have, like a system to do after they cleanse to keep the weight loss going. And that's where the methods came in. I developed the skinny method and then the protein method, then the detox method from there. And they're weekly systems that teach you actually healthy, clean eating habits, and they are supplemented with our juices and smoothies and shots to make it easier for you to actually make the habits sustainable. Lisa, you emailed me when I had a headache the first time while juicing, and you were super helpful. I'm so glad I was helpful for you. I always try to answer every email that comes in. I mean, I always tell the customers, I read every review and I answer every email that the customer service sends me or that you send me directly. So I try to be extremely involved, even as we're growing by leaps and bounds. I definitely try to stay involved. So I'm really glad I was helpful for you. If you're feeling, email me anytime, Testa@rawgeneration.com. I will answer your questions or send it to customer service and they'll forward it to me anytime. That's great. I think I caught all the questions. I'm just checking real quick. I did. Okay. Wow, so we talked about a gamut of things today, a whole plethora of things about how I came to work with Raw Generation, how I came to eat raw foods, how I create our flavors here, then talking about our cleanses and our methods. And I think I answered every question that came in. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to close shortly here. And I'll be back again. What's today? Wednesday? I'll be back on Monday at 12:30 Eastern Time. And I hope you guys join me again to ask some more questions. Have a great day.